Hello there, listener. We're all here for Heaving Bosoms, the podcast where two best friends talk about romance novels by going scene by scene and swooning, cackling, and chatting along the way. This week, we've got another special treat. It's part 2 of our Ice Planet collaboration. This week, I was allowed to bring my ridiculous countenance into Dani's world as we recapped Barbarian's Choice. It's Ruby's all-alien book, which answered so many of my questions. Plus, there's body modification and so much more. You have to listen to the rest of the Ice Planet pod and Black Chicklet. If you want an experience most similar to Heaving Bosoms to get started, I highly recommend their coverage of Addicted by Zane. Part 1 is episode 25, and you will laugh your faces off. I also personally love their episode on My Sister, the Serial Killer by Oyinkan Braithwaite. That's episode 28. But first, we have to get into Barbarian's Choice, where I am at an 11 the whole time, and Dani is wonderful as always. Here we go!
Yes. Awesome.
Okay.
I love that all that's staying in.
You raised your hands to clap again. That's perfect. It's perfect.
All
of that cooking with gas, Dani.
Oh. Hello, Melody.
Hello. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh my gosh. I am like tits out excited for this. I am so stoked about this.
I'm so grateful you agreed to do it because I felt like I was really getting on people's nerves. I was like, hey, you know those alien sex books? Do you want to read one and record a podcast?
Please. Not even close.
So let's tell the people, just by some crazy stroke of like logic, they found their way to this podcast and they don't know who you are. Tell the people who you are.
Oh, hey guys. My name is Melody. I am co-host I am co-host of the Heaving Bosoms podcast. We, my friend Erin and I recap romance novels. Like we go through the whole plot play by play. We basically treat the characters and the plot as if it is a real thing that has happened, and like the characters are real people who we need to like talk about their choices. It's a really good time. And then we also, come from like a feminist, sex positive, lady love, women support women overall perspective. So yeah, that's what we do.
It's awesome. Erin has also been on the podcast. She's in episode maybe 2 before you because
Hell yeah.
The book order has gotten really confusing. Amazon counts it one way.
I noticed that.
And I'm like, what the heck happened?
Yeah. So what's in there? Is it like a novella, do you think?
I think it must count a novella, but only one of them because there's like a shit ton of those novellas.
There's a bunch of 0.5s up in there.
So it's thrown off. And then there's the wiki. And I think I went off. So you know what? You will both be on there. I thought you were consecutive, but maybe someone else sneaks in there. And you know what? It's fine. We love them too. So, This episode, I'm really excited. This is one of my favorites. We are doing Barbarian's Choice, which is Farli's book. One of only 2 books, which has 2 alien, like a full-on alien couple.
Alien couple, you guys. Oh my God.
I am so glad she did that because it could have been very easy just to be like to feel like you have to have a human in there.
Yeah, completely. And you do not. You don't. You don't.
Very interesting. I love this book, and I love the fact that we have like a modern day, like Marduk is like the modern day Sa-khui. I don't know what he calls. They don't call themselves Sa-khui.
They're Mesasak.
That's it.
Think.
Yeah. Have you read the other books in the Ruby Dixon?
Girl, have I read the other books?
Come on. Outside of this series, have you read the other series?
Oh no.
Okay.
I really want to read that oh god, it's like the god of thunder and war banged by the god of war. Nah, that's not it.
That's close though. It has that energy. It's that energy. There's like a god in the title and he's got a hammer or something. Yeah.
Oh, does he ever? Hell yes. Yeah. It's good times.
Yes, but I know, because I listen to the Heaving Bosoms podcast, I know this is not your first foray into the Ice Planet to the Ice Planet Barbarians. How did you discover the series?
Oh my gosh! I wish I had looked this up. Oh, I'm such a dummy. We had a wonderful listener. It was one of our 5-star recommendations because we have that bribe. That if listeners rate us 5 stars and then tell us what book they want us to do, we will recap that book and it'll be an episode. So somebody recommended Barbarian's Mate, I think, which is Josie's book. And isn't that your first book too?
I think I wrecked that one to Erin too at KissCon.
Oh, so maybe you're the listener who got us on the podcast.
But if somebody else did the review, so... Because
sometimes, we let VIPs in, So, I think actually, now that I recall, I think she said, hey, I talked to Dani at KissCon and we need to do this book. Yeah.
Yeah, because I told her just don't do the first one because it's not as fun. And you all like to have fun and it's it's heavy. Yeah.
There's a lot up in there. Yeah, there's a lot.
So much. I love that episode. And then I realized when I was recording with Erin, I was crossing my episodes because I just remember someone going and I thought it was you mocking the Sa-khui.
No,
and it's
that was
not.
No.
Similar genre. Yeah. It was you mocking a butt vacuum.
That's correct.
So
that was a Grace Goodwin book. Mm-hmm. Good times.
But now I know now even now that I know I've mixed them up, I still hear
That's your headcanon for the Sa-khui. It's the butt vacuum. That's amazing.
I'm that's some type of vibration. Yeah.
Yeah, completely.
Yes. Oh, I love it. So you had not heard of it before this?
No, I had not. So I read, we were going to read Barbarian's, I think, Mate, number 7. And then I was just immediately like, oh my God, it's everything. It's everything I love. It has it all here. And so Erin and I talked about, we always get a little uncomfortable, jumping into a series or taking the middle of a series because what if we don't know what's going on? Thankfully, these you can just jump in and it's fine. Don't get me wrong. We had capital Q questions, because a lot of things were sort of explained, but mostly taken for granted.
Yes.
So I was like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm going back. I'm going in the way back machine and I'm doing all of them. So in that week, I read the book we were supposed to read. But then I just mainlined book 1 through I think 5.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I just I couldn't put them down. I had to put them into my brain.
She's good at that.
Yeah, it was a necessary thing that I had to do. So.
Yeah. I need to find, Erin told me there is a Patreon episode where you or maybe is that also Grace Goodwin's other series?
Yeah.
Why do I keep...
I think we do a breakdown of the Grace Goodwin series. Okay. Although we've been promising, because I read all those books, and so we were like, we'll do an Ice Planet episode, and then I don't think it ever happened. So
it's happening now. We'll figure it out.
Erin and I will go back, and we'll do it again.
So but now I need to go find the Grace Goodwin, because I only read that book because you all did it, and I was like, whoa.
It's magic. It's pure magic.
Was that the one with the magic fruit that made you... more you eat the fruit to help you be open for anal sex?
No,
I'm not
no. That sounds like a something though.
I thought it was that one. Okay. Oh, no. It's not. And now I've just outed myself as reading.
Get it, girl.
No, it was a series where double penetration was a big thing. But
apparently, a lot of civilizations are based upon double penetration, and I am okay with that.
You too.
I will co-sign on that. I will second that motion, is all I'm saying. Oh, God, that was a weird double entendre I didn't mean to do. Oh, no. Oh, blurg.
Do you want me to cut it?
No, I do not. Are you kidding me? Get out of here.
Oh my gosh.
Most of my humor is accidental.
And it's like, in order to help the woman be more, I don't want to say this word, but it's the only one I could think of, loose.
It's open.
For anal
Get it?
sex.
Yeah.
You eat the fruit.
Mm-hmm. No, the Grace Goodwin series takes a much more, work ethic point of view in the anal training box. So... You gotta work up to the double penetration, and I appreciate that about them. You know what I'm saying?
The box!
The ATB. It's delish.
Is that how they refer to it in the book, the ATB?
The ATB.
I thought it was something you all had made up.
Oh, no.
Like, they would have given it some fancy sciencey name. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I love this whole subgenre of crazy space books. Okay, we came to talk about this book.
That's right. We have a very particular crazy space book to talk about.
Yes.
I'm down for it.
So again, yes, this was Farli's book. This is the one where the ice planet, I put discovered, but like they always knew it was there. This is when the modern age catches up and finds out that there is a civilization here.
Yeah, they realize that it is habited.
Mm-hmm. And we... Go ahead, sorry.
No, because it seems inhabitable, and I would agree with that. From a quick cursory glance, I would say nobody should live there!
They should not. The air is constantly trying to kill them.
Yeah.
And from our perspective, we get to see some more of Ruby Dixon's universe with you said it and I've already forgotten it,
Mesaka.
I'm not going to remember.
I think that's how that is done. I don't know, though.
The modern day blue people. So we get to see them, and they sound really different. So our couple for this book, we'll get into it. Our couple for this book are Farli and Marduk. What did you think?
Loved them. Loved every moment of them. I loved Farli as a person, and I loved Marduk as a person, and together they just created sparks and flames and magic. They were perfect.
They were so cute, and I really love it when she does this where one person has the Sa-khui and the other one doesn't, but they're still getting impacted by it. Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's one of the tough things about like the fated mate sort of thing is like, do they have a choice or do they not? Mm-hmm. And I like the Ruby Dixon books, like number 2, where one of them like fights against the Sa-khui for a specific reason. It didn't make sense in Josie's book, but it did in Liz's. You know what I mean? Whereas and in this case, she has the Sa-khui and he doesn't, and he's like, I'm still feeling all these things, and I don't understand why I'm feeling them, and it's just, but because the Sa-khui chooses for a reason, you guys.
It knows. It does.
Biologically, personality-wise, it's just gonna work.
You saying that reminded me of something. Erin said she was staunchly anti-Team Josie. Were you Team Josie? She said she hated Josie.
I was apathetic on Josie.
Okay. But
I was very Team Hayden.
Okay.
Hayden. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So we're here. Farli, we've kind of seen Farli grow up. She's been present from book 1.
And in Josie's book, she was a wee little tot. She was like a preteen.
Mm-hmm. She taught her how to say vagina, and she's like, I'm corrupting this child.
It's so good.
So that means they've been there for at least a decade now.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and they've got the kits to show for it. So.
Josie has 4.
Yeah, Josie's been real productive with her time there.
Both of them.
Yeah.
So she's native to the ice planet. She's one of the only Sa-khui women left. She has 3 brothers in this book, who 2 at this point have been heroes in other books. Saluk and Pashaw. Zenit gets a book when Ruby goes back. There's those last 2 books she decides to backtrack, and we get some of those earlier resonances.
Interesting. Well, yeah, because she's just and all these bitches resonated right off the bat.
Exactly.
And you're like, okay, cool, I guess that's over now. But she goes back. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm. So we get Ariana's story and the
one
Marlene.
Who cried for 2 seasons straight. I mean, I understand that. I get where she's coming from.
I mean, I'd cry too, honestly.
It's a tough transition.
All that ice. And then we have Marduk, who is a modern day, I'm just going to call him Sa-khui. I know that's not his name, but I can't remember for the life of me. He's a veteran. He's got some kind of PTSD happening. He's got tattoos. He's got metal-capped horns. And he's got a fake arm.
Oh, boy.
You're reacting. Boy. What were you reacting to?
I mean, just the body mod. You know what I mean? So we've got aliens, right? That's one level. And then you add the body modifications on top of it, and it's just like catnip in everywhere.
So you're down for it.
He was hot. Come on now. He was so hot.
He was, yeah. And then I just love the voice that Mason Lloyd did for the modern day Sa-khui. Did you read or listen? I always ask.
I read. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I read.
So I tried. It seems like that's just a thing they all do. Everyone body mods in culture now. Because he's taken aback when he sees Farli and she has no metal on her horns and no tattoos. Oh.
Yeah. But then he's like, ooh, look at that clean slate. I'm gonna get up in it.
She was also, I believe, topless.
Yeah, she was.
Loincloth only.
Mm-hmm.
It was a brisk spring day for her. I love it.
It was.
So, how did you feel about the book overall? Did we already do this? I'm like backtracking,
we did it.
I think.
Yeah, we did it.
Okay.
We are on plot discussion. Hello,
awesome.
Plot discussion.
Hello, plot. Thank you. So, I usually start by saying what happens in our last book. There's not much in the last book that connects to this book because I think we have a really big time jump.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Yeah, because the last book was right after the crash of the cave. And I think, and this is when I realized there's an error, Asha's book is in here.
Mm-hmm.
And so if Asha has a baby and we know these women are pregnant for 3 years, so we're a good 3 to 5 years ahead in time now.
Oh, I cannot even.
I don't even want to think about it. So this starts, and as I finished the book and read the last chapter, maybe it's the chapter before the epilogue with Beck, it reminded me of where this whole arc is going. So we're actually, yeah.
I got some things to say about that.
Oh, I would love to hear them.
But we will wait until it's time. But just get ready. I got some things to say about Beck.
I'm ready. Well, yeah, I have things to say too. We'll get there because I could talk about Beck all day. I have so many feelings. So this book starts off. Farli is trying to get out of this tribe because these men will not leave her be.
They want her so bad, you guys. There is this youngster, this precocious
child
dude. Yeah. And he wants to learn some things, and he wants to learn some things with Farli. He wants them to teach each other the ways of pleasure mating, you guys. And then there's also Taushin, who's older, right? And he's like, virgin on desperate. He's right there. He's on the cusp.
Yes.
And they want her body. They want her. And especially Sessa, is that his name?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
He will not leave her alone. He's always he's scratching on her door, as they say. Trying to get an invitation.
Into the I almost said something really gross and I'm gonna stop.
Me too. And then I rolled it back. Oh.
Farli is not interested. She keeps calling. She will not. He's like lanky and teenager. She is not interested. I'm just picturing like a 16-year-old and I'm like,
yeah, absolutely. He's
Farli.
like Ice Planet acnified. Like it's rough.
Yes, he is just out of his like pubescent phase. So I get it. So she's like, I'm gonna go hunting.
She wants to wait for her mate. She wants to wait for resonance. She wants to learn all of that with like the deeper meaning. And I support a lady who knows what she wants.
And I do respect that she was willing to wait. She's like, even if he hasn't been born yet. And she was like, what? Somebody apparently in the village has a mate who's like 27 years younger than them?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, girl, I'm glad you don't have to wait for long.
Yeah. Ooh. I mean, she's committed, and so I gotta stand by her, but woo! Okay.
I would just hang out with Taushin a bit more. It's like, you know what? Maybe I can shape him into something.
He seems wonderful. Maybe a little boring, but like, other than that, he seems wonderful.
Yes. He does. It's funny because he's another one we grow up with, because he used to be the baby.
Yeah.
He was in, did you read Tiffany's book?
Yes, I did. Of course I did.
And he was all eager. He really wants a mate, you guys. And then he goes season after season after season without getting one, and then he gets surly about it.
Yeah, I mean, I sort of don't blame him.
Yeah, I can relate.
Yeah.
So we have to also talk about Chompy. Because Chompy plays a major role in this book.
Have you decided what a Divisti is?
I'm going to stick with a pony, like some kind of pony cow situation.
Okay, do you want to hear what my theory is?
Yes.
My theory is a very shaggy goat that is cow-sized.
So a really big goat so like a yak? Isn't that
Giant
essentially
goat.
a yak?
No, yaks are also cows, I think, or something. Don't at me. I don't want to know what a yak actually is. I think it's a cow, though. So, anyway, yeah, but she keeps on saying that it bleats.
That's true. Like a
which
sheep.
Makes me think goat.
That's good.
Or maybe
point.
it's a giant sheep. A sheep. I tried to, in my brain just now, I tried to make sheep singular, and it's sheep. So I second-guessed myself real quick.
You're fine. Boy. But yeah, some kind of shaggy, and I don't know why they don't use that wool. I've brought that up a number of times.
Yeah.
Maybe get out of this leather. Get these babies out of this leather.
Yes. Get those leather diapers off those babies.
I don't want to know.
Oh my God.
I don't want to know what a piece of leather looks like after it's been slapped on the ass of like a unpotty trained infant.
Not a single part of me wants to know anything about that. I choose to believe that they just like freewheel it.
I would rather
they potty train early. Yeah, it's fine.
So I mean, anyway, they use poop for fuel. So
they do. Ew. So
you're like, let's move past that. Yes, go ahead.
Let's keep going. Yeah, so the Devisti is her BFF, has been since forever. We know this. We know Chompy. Everybody knows Chompy. Everybody loves Chompy. And so she and Chompy get on the pulley system out of the gorge they're currently in, and they're going for a hunt because they got to get away from Sessa and his
horniness.
Yes, get away from me, Sessa. Get away. So she's going for a long hunt. And she's really excited about it. Yeah, she's just gonna take in the countryside and meditate on the wonder of the ice planet. And she's gonna get like pretty naked because it is just a balmy spring day on the ice planet.
I'm sure she left path naked. So
yeah.
So, and while that's happening, Marduk we learn he's something. He's security. I'm not really sure what the arrangement...
He's the mechanic and security.
Okay, thank you.
He is dual purpose on that 4-person ship. Get it, Marduk!
Because I was like, one's a healer, one's the navigator, and one's the captain. And then I could not remember what his purpose was. But you're right, he's the mechanic and the security guard. Which I think he gets by virtue of just being the biggest guy.
Yeah. So he's really good with his hands. And he's also really good with his muscles.
and he's smart, too.
Yeah, he's so smart. He's so hot, you guys.
I don't remember why they land, except for
they have some mechanical trouble.
Yes.
Yeah, you guys. His dad died a few months ago, and it's like the last person in his family, and he's also got this PTSD thing happening from the big war that he was in, and so he might be a tiny bit distracted. Nobody can come at him about that, okay? He will fix it. And so they land on this planet because he's got to do a little bit of a what hose is leaking situation.
Exactly.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
He's got to do a little bit of an unscrew and rescrew situation.
Move some wires. Exactly.
That's the one. Yeah.
So they land. I forgot about his dad. And I was like, oh. But he didn't know his dad very well.
He sounded like he was a dick anyway, so it's fine, you guys.
Yeah. He Oh my gosh. So they land, and like Farli sees the ship land, and she watches them, and she sees that they are like her, tall and blue. And she's like, I'm going to go say hi. She is fearless, our girl.
Oh, she is so fearless. She is so self-possessed. She
so
is
sweet
so, and she's so sweet. Oh my gosh. This optimistic Olive. Oh.
So while he's out there pulling out, she walks up and she like starts chatting at him. He doesn't know what she's saying, and then for a full I got a feeling for like a full 10 minutes, he thinks she's a hallucination.
He's like, oh, I didn't know I was out in space this long because there's a super naked chick right in front of me, and she's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. This has to be a hallucination.
So yes, it's not until they touch hands. And he's like, oh, she's real.
Oh, their fingers brush, everyone. Their fingers brush.
It's
and
very
he
sweet.
feels it right in his dick part. So.
Which means, and so does she. Well, not her dick parts, but so does she, but she starts resonating immediately.
One of my favorite lines in this thing is like, she's here, she's real, and she's purring, or something like that. Oh, it's like this three. Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
Because, her Sa-khui everyone sees him, and they're like, yep, that's the one. Instantly. Mm-hmm. And she's very excited. Yeah. And, like, this is very convenient for her, for someone who was like, I'll wait 27 years. Things got done.
Jesus! Like, she's just going out to be by herself, and all of a sudden she just stumbles upon her fated mate this could only happen it's so wonderful.
It's pretty great. He doesn't know what's going on. They can't communicate.
Yeah, they speak totally different languages. He's never even heard her language before.
Mm-hmm.
And then it switches to Farli's perspective, and she's like, I am resonating. I can't believe it. I'm so excited. I have found my equal partner, and I have found the mate who is going to give me kids and take care of everything, and I'm going to hunt for him, and it's going to be so great. She's like planning their wedding. It's done in her brain. And in fact, what she's saying to him in her language is, what does she say? She says, do you want to mate here? Or do you just want to go right back to my cave? Like, we could just right here. I'm mostly naked anyway.
I was going to say, she is ready to go off. She's like, well, there's a hunter cave nearby. I could just take him there. Or we could just do this.
I am literally only wearing a loincloth right now, so right here in the snow would be fine.
We can make it work. Always willing, these guys. You gotta respect.
Good Lord. It's so wonderful.
I do want to give a shout out to both voice actors, because I guess it's just Mason Lloyd. When Marduk can't understand her, they copy the gibberish that they hear, and he is just spouting off this fake language with such confidence. It's like,
that is so cool.
It was really well done. So I couldn't even read it. My mind just skipped it in the text. I was like, I don't know what that is. But go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I was just going to point out that she immediately grabs his hand, takes off his glove, and puts his hand on her teat. On her teat, you guys. It's so good. Well, and
no time.
Oh no, but I also love because she's so confident, but then she grabs his one of his hands first and tries to pull off the glove, and he pulls it away, and she's like, "Oh my God, does my mate not like me?" And she's like, "Mate, do you not like me?" And then he offers his other hand because she grabbed the bionic arm,
fake hand.
And he's like, "That's not going to do anything for either of us." So,
yes. And I think he's a little self-conscious of it, or did I insinuate that all myself?
No, I think that's true. I also think that it's tough because it's a physical reminder of the awful trauma he was through, and he still has phantom pains. Like, he's
baby.
Yeah. It's a. I thought it was a fairly good depiction of an amputee without having that experience myself. You know what I mean?
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or without making it like this pity party, or like it's completely made his life unlivable. So
right.
So they're out there chatting when suddenly who comes bleeding up?
Oh no. He's so excited, you guys. Chompy just wants to say hi. Chompy wants to chomp you guys. And so he's like galloping up, and Marduk reacts like a soldier.
Mm-hmm. And shoots poor Chompy.
He takes out his ray gun, and he just shoots that Divisti right in the gut. And it's horrifying. And he does a big protect. He takes her and he puts her behind his back, and he's like, shooting now. I'm shooting. And then she, of course, freaks out and goes over to her Divisti because she doesn't know what happened. She just saw a flash of light, and then her best friend went down.
Mm-hmm. And she doesn't put that he's responsible for Chompy getting injured. Yeah. I was so hurt by this. It's in the outline in all caps. And I was very angry. Marduk shoots Chompy.
I know. I was like, how could we have an HEA after this? This is bonkers.
And he sort of realizes he's overreacted. He's like, I responded incorrectly. It's her pet. So he initially, he does briefly consider putting Chompy out of his misery.
I mean, listen, I grew up on a farm. That would be my first reaction too. is like,
makes sense. Yes.
This seems real bad, you guys. It seems pretty debilitating, if not dire. So maybe we should just put him out of his misery. Well, no, I do love, though. We have to take a look inside his brain really quick, because during all of this, he says that he has a violent surge of possessiveness toward this woman, because she thinks about him meeting the other dude on the ship. And she's like, I saw her first. She's mine. And then he thinks to himself, all right, if she's mine, I need to fix this. Because, like, I just shot her dog. This is not good. I just shot her French bulldog, and not a lot of people can come back from that.
And Chompy is like, it wasn't a kill shot. He's injured. He's in pain. So he scoops up this giant sheepdog horse, walks onto the ship. Farley's trailing behind him, takes it straight to the healer. And he's like, you got to heal this pet thing. Can you imagine? Like, this woman.
Oh my God, Neri does not suffer fools, and she deals with a lot in this book.
Oh, so much foolishness in this book. To a point, almost to a detrimental point. Like, Neri could relax a tad. Like, Neri
completely.
But she does woman up and have a soft spot in her heart and agree to save this giant furball that has landed in her lab.
Yeah, so they put it in the magic alien, bed chamber where it just does operations by itself. It's great. It's really, really awesome for the whole canon. I was so happy when she introduced this. It was lovely.
Well, it was also in the it's been on the Elder Cave, right? It's just the updated version. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what
that Elder Cave, man. It's saved them so many times. So they, at some point, he finally figures out, he gets her talking, and the computer's able to identify what she's speaking. And when it identifies it as old sock, he's like, they haven't spoken that in a millennium. And so he realizes, that's when he gets the first hint. I mean, I'm sure there's hints before this, but the first hint that, like, Farli is not just some contemporary who's crash landed onto this planet.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. They've been here for a minute. And by a minute, I mean at least 1,000 years. So they have that same fancy language zapping technology. So he gets that zapped in his head and they can start talking. Yeah. And then the captain finds out about her presence and everything that's been going on. And so he immediately goes into military man mode. And he's like, we will hold a formal dinner and I will interrogate her because I am certain she's a spy.
I have so many things to say. I love it when Ruby just embraces sitcom shenanigans. This dinner was a sitcom shenanigan because there was no reason for it.
There was nothing. We did not get anything out of it. Not a single thing.
Well, and even you're a captain of a ship and you're like, I want to interrogate this strange woman. You don't need to plan a formal sit-down dinner to do it.
You certainly don't. Yeah.
It's like, I don't know why. I think of that scene from The Little Mermaid when Ariel sits down at the table and puts out the fork and starts combing her hair with it.
Oh, yeah. She's like, look what I can do. I know about your culture. It's so good.
I had that whole... Marduk is Eric, and then the captain is whoever that old dude was. So I loved this whole scene. Because, yes, he thinks she's a spy, which is nuts. And Marduk even tells him that.
Yeah, he's like, you're at an 11 right now, and you need to be at like a 3. So
he's like, spying on what, sir?
Yeah, like why would she even care? Yeah, and but then by the end of the dinner, the captain is like, if we need to go see her people, because if we can, we have a duty to help these people get off of this terrible rock.
Yes, to rescue them.
Yeah, and take them back to civilization. And so, yeah, she's going to spend the night on the ship. She plans to go back to the Hunter Cave, and she's like, I need fire because I got to go.
Yeah, she needs a light. Before that, though, I want to talk about, like, the emotions. And, like, because Marduk is really protective of her during this whole dinner. Because
he is.
No one's outright rude, but there is, like, a hint of condescension towards, like, everything about her.
And there's a lot of snickering. There's a lot of sneering from the other crewmates. Like, particularly from this one dude, Trakan, I think his name is. He's just a dick overall. there's a bunch of like, side-eyeing her.
Mm-hmm. And I like it when he like has to stick up for her, and like she senses something, like she senses that they're rude. She can't figure out why they're like, she senses it wasn't a great dinner, but she can't pinpoint why.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's like he's like desperately trying to protect her while still needing to respect the hierarchy of the ship.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a little bit hard for him to navigate as well.
They also made her get dressed, and she is wearing this suit that she's apparently just busting out of because she's so muscular.
Yeah.
We stand a girl who is fit.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, now we can get to the bed scene, the sleeping scene,
Ayo.
which was really cute.
It was so cute.
Because
I loved it.
Yes, he tries to do like, I guess, the quote unquote decent thing and give her his bunk, and he sleeps in a storage room. And Farli is like, no. And she keeps like intercomming him because she wants him to come back and sleep with her.
She's like, this doesn't make a lick of sense. We're mates. Mm-hmm. I don't understand what your problem is. Granted, she knows enough to be like, girl, don't scare him off. Yes. She hasn't told him yet about the whole thing. But she's like, he keeps on being like, I'm going to leave you alone now because I might not be able to control myself. And that's a little bit laughable just because of Sa-khui and Sa-khui culture. Like, they're very anti-rape. They're very into women's consent. But still, he's like, at the very least, all night I'm going to be super uncomfortable. And also, it's against my ship's regulations to have any kind of relationship with visitors.
And I think that's the big thing, the appearance of it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. So he keeps on trying to fuck off. And she's like, nah, dude, you gotta get right back in here. What are you doing? And he keeps being like, are you scared? And she's finally like, listen, if I say out loud, I am scared, will that make you stay? Because if so, I'm shaking in my boots. I'm so terrified.
She just wants him to spend the night.
I love it.
And then he finally agrees, and he sleeps on the floor, and she's lying in the bed, and she's like, he's just right there. I could just sort of...
Oh, and I'm so hot. I gotta take off my clothes because the Sa-khui is warming me from the inside, and then whoopsie daisy, looks like I fell off the bed.
And she's doing this with this whole air of like innocence, of like, oh, like, not innocence, it's earnestness that comes off. It's like innocence. Yes. And she's just so like, oh, now I'm lying on top of you.
Oh, it's lovely. And meanwhile, like, he's not that much bigger than her. I just imagine like this thunk, like right down on him. She just very unceremoniously just plops off the bed and onto his chest. She's really lucky she didn't get, like, the good
horn
stuff.
To the face.
Or a horn to the face. Yeah, I was worried about the giblets, but,
Also important.
Also important. For her purposes especially.
Yes.
She's trying to... Jeez. Yeah, so then he's like, are you fully naked right now? And she's like, I'm just wiggling on you. I'm just wiggling and giggling and like... Maybe we could mate with our mouths. I think that would be really fun. I've seen it done so many times.
Ooh, I want to talk about this because he is, I don't want to say disgusted, but he is just, they do not kiss with their mouths.
He's taken aback.
He is. They do not kiss with their mouths.
Oh my God. I love the fact that you chose me for this book because it honestly answered so many of my questions. Like, it makes sense now why the Sa-khui never even knew kissing existed. Because they lost so much of their history when they crashed and, like, all of that. Apparently, their culture, or their, where they're from is, like, super disease-ridden. And so, kissing is, like, super unhygienic there, I guess. Or at least the fear of being very unhygienic. So it makes so much more sense now. I was like, why wouldn't they? They both have mouths. If the genitalia lines up the same way, why wouldn't she think the mouths would line up the same way? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a valid observation. Because, like, listen, the Sa-khui men love putting their mouths on their women's
love everywhere.
Yes.
Does not matter. They want to get up in your crevices.
They really do. So like, why wouldn't they think to put their mouths? But that does explain it. Like, if they didn't question it, it was just some leftover thing.
Exactly.
We learned that basically, like, Marduk's people wear like full body condoms.
You guys, they cover themselves in latex. Either like any place where skin is uncovered, then they cover it with latex. Yes. Oh my God.
Yes.
He said that most of the time when he has sex, no clothes even come off. It's just like they get their dicks out and they open up the flap on their pussies or whatever, and then they condom up and go at it, right?
I don't like the word flap. Because I'm sure you're talking about pants or something, but I just thought... I didn't
what did I bring labia into the conversation and you weren't into it?
A particularly flappy one too. Okay. Okay. Yes. So she kisses him, and he's just like, his mind is blown. The kissing is one thing, and then she puts her tongue in his mouth.
She puts her tongue right in his mouth. It's so exciting. It feels so good. This is revolutionary. And we find out later that he knows what he's doing in the bedroom. He's like made particular investments in being good in the bedroom department.
Speaking of body modification.
Yeah. Cool.
Do we see that here? Because don't they do some petting? Doesn't she like...
No.
Is that okay?
Nope. We'll get to it.
Okay.
Just be on the edge of your seat, listener. Get stoked.
But yeah, so this I think is mostly kissing. And he's like, I've only seen women in vids do that and blah, blah, blah.
In vids! I love the lingo. I love it.
This was so fun because we got that like whole new element. I was like, I'm into this.
Yes. Oh, I loved it.
Kev, he keeps saying Kev.
Oh my God, Kef is their fuck. And so he's like, this Keffing guy. Get the Kef out of here.
That's going in the episode description. So they're like getting hot and heavy. And I think, is this when she tells him, you are my mate?
Yeah, she explains, she's like, it's not purring, this is resonance. My Sa-khui has chosen you, and you're my mate. And we're going to have babies someday. And he's like, hold the phone. Oh, boy.
But he's also not completely scared off either. Like he's
still into it.
Yeah. He's like, I don't know how I feel about this.
Right.
Well, he doesn't love it, but he doesn't hate it.
Exactly. He's very like, I need to take a pause because his whole body and heart is telling him this is right. But he also understands that he needs to rewrite a lot of his future that he was dead set on. He was dead set on being a loner and not inflicting himself and his issues on anyone else. He was dead set on like not repeating the mistakes of his father by having children. Mm-hmm. He was dead set on all of this. And yet, from the very beginning, he's like, I think the door's a little open.
Yeah.
Like, it's cracked. I don't hate this idea. Like, spending the rest of my life with this woman who is wild and just does things with abandon and is so optimistic and smiley and has such a zest for life, he's stoked about. And it starts, not really slowly, rewriting the narrative that he had set for himself in the future. It's very cool.
It's really cool. And also because even though he doesn't have a Sa-khui, he does feel really drawn to her. He gets really jealous when he thinks about, her. It. Yeah, he doesn't like the idea of her with other men. He does, or not in a creepy territorial way, but he doesn't like the idea of her, leaving him. Like, he's really attached to her, and they're really big on saying, you're mine, she's mine.
Oh,
He's already reached that point when it comes to Farli. So I think he may not completely believe the Sa-khui because he still views it as a parasite, and that becomes a thing later. Like, you can just get it removed. But he does think there's something to them being connected in some way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, yeah. Oh, I love that little worm, man. That is the genius of Ruby Dixon's entire series. Is this little matchmaking worm. So where did we go from? So what happens the next morning?
Well, the captain is like, we gotta take our ship over to those people and talk to them and see what the fuck is up.
Yes.
Because we need to see whether or not, because he's got this whole like not backbreaking. He has this cargo on his ship that is incredibly important to his future. If he doesn't get it there on time, he's broke, he's done, he's toast. He's like selling the ship to pay off his debts and like trying to figure out his next step.
Yeah, and he used all of his military pension to buy this ship. He's 100% invested in it.
Completely. But he's still an honorable enough person that he's like, if there are 50 people who need to get back to civilization, then I will dump this stuff and I will take the hit and like, I guess apply for government assistance is what he says, you know? So
I do also appreciate we learned that humans are considered a D-class life form.
Yeah, I mean, they're right.
And we're like illegal, like it's banned in this universe because we're just too technologically primitive.
Yeah.
To be so not only when they were stealing people, not only is it illegal because of kidnapping, but they were kidnapping from a planet that is supposed to be, stay away, quarantine, leave them be.
Right.
So, yes,
exactly.
Please leave us. Actually, maybe don't. Come help us. Please.
Oh my God. I mean, Jesus. 2020. Let's shake things up, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Let's get some common sense back. Yeah. So, yes, and so I really like the whole I like this little scene. It's not that important. But they're like, they explain to her, we don't have to walk back. We're going to fly you back.
Yeah.
So they all go to the bridge, and Marduk is like, she'll sit with me. Because at first,
and then she's like, yeah, I will.
Yeah, and he pulls up a seat, and she looks at the seat, and she's like, I'd rather just sit on your lap. And she plops right down on his lap. I love how she's just like, no, thank you. I'd rather just sit here and be comfortable.
Yeah. Well, and then she notices that everybody, like, side-eyes her, and she whispers in Marduk's ear, like, are your people not very affectionate when you have mates?
And he's like, just ignoring them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's like, don't you worry about it, girl. You stay right there on my knee. It's good stuff.
Because at first, the navigator's like, she can sit next to me, and he doesn't want that at all, either.
Yeah, fuck that. Fuck that, and fuck you, Trekken, or whatever your name is.
We're calling him Trekken from now
Trekken! Yeah.
So, and then, because, that's the one insult I remember him making when she says they used to live in a cave, and he was like, of course you did. And then she's like, yeah, but then it was destroyed, and then he feels like a real asshole.
Mm-hmm.
So they fly them over to the caves, or the village, wherever they are now, I don't remember, and they land, and, like, she's gonna go first to introduce, because granted, I think she sees the line of hunters.
Hell yeah! They're out there with their spears, goddammit! Yes. They're not taking nothing from nobody, okay?
Every time a ship lands on this planet, it brings problems. So
yeah, all their women might disappear. Fuck that! They're not having it.
Mm-mm.
So they're ready to throw down, and she's like, listen, I need to do some smoothing of the way. Exactly. Let me do some diplomacy real quick. All right?
Exactly.
And Marduk is like, wait, they have spears. You shouldn't go over there. You should stay here where you're safe with me. And she's like, dude, these are my people. Did you not? Like, what are you talking about?
Keep up, Marduk.
Yeah. So she goes over, and one of them tries to pull her behind him because he's like,
Vecto.
Yeah, oh yeah. Vecto, the chief.
He grabs her by the arm.
That cunnilingus to say hello legend.
Let me show you the greetings of my people.
Oh, it's so true. All right. Well, so then Marduk is like, you get your hands off of her. Don't you dare. And he comes storming over. And so they're about to throw down. And Farli has to scream like, hey, you buffoons, that's my mate. Stop it, everyone. Don't you do anything to him. Do you see how hot he is? Look at his hands. They're so shiny. I want to lick all of his tattoos, and I have not gotten the opportunity yet, so you need to back down, Farli says.
And it's funny because, like, they get a little heated by his behavior, but as soon as she's like, residents, everyone's, like, smirking. It's like, oh, okay. So like, that's why he's acting like this. Mm-hmm. I think it describes, like, two of the hunters just smirk, and I think, like, Beck rolls his eyes.
Yeah. One basically is like, yes, I see.
Yes, this hormonal bitch, yes.
It's true.
So she smoothed things over, and she's like, they landed here, and she gets a little scolded because he's like, you don't know who they could have been. They could have, like, what would you have done if they had snatched you up and flown away? And
they're basically like, you sweet baby angel. Just because they look like us doesn't mean they're good people. You got to be careful.
And she kind of naively says, like, they can't, I have the Sa-khui, I can't leave, I have the Sa-khui, or something. She doesn't fully get it. It's like, oh, you poor sweet baby.
Oh, yeah, because P.S., when Neri was healing Chompy, she was like, hey, this thing looks really great, except the only thing that's wrong with it is, the gut wound. The gaping,
and the
bleeding
worms.
Gut wound. And then they both have parasites, so that's awkward.
Yes.
And I can take out the parasite. So he has a conversation with her, and she's like, oh, no. The Sa-khui stays. The Sa-khui is mine and Chompy's. You don't separate us from our Sa-khuis.
Mm-hmm.
And then they discuss the difference between parasites and symbionts, and it's a whole thing. So, yeah, she's like, they can't take me. I'll die if I have the Sa-khui off this planet.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And we hear later from even, like, the human women that, like, because it's so funny, they were all, when you read those earlier books, disgusted by the idea of this Sa-khui, and now they're like, well, it's not just a physical dependence, it's sort of like an emotional one, too.
Yeah.
So, like, they're all attached to this little worm in their chest.
Of course. It shows their fated mates.
And now
it made them so happy.
It also keeps them from dying. So
also that.
Yes.
It spits out IUDs. It does all the things for you. All right?
That book, thank God that was the book I picked first. Between the IUD falling out of her pants to the pterodactyl attack.
Oh my God. The pterodactyl attack. That giant bird. Oh,
they never call it a pterodactyl, and I'm like, that's straight up.
That's super what it is. Yeah, absolutely.
So, I love it. I'm so glad that's the first book I read because it got me ready for this. Oh. So they decide to have they invite them, and they sort of have another dinner, I guess.
Yeah, the tribe welcomes them.
Mm-hmm. They have a celebration, and they welcome them, and I kind of love this too. Because we have a very important, I don't know if I'm jumping ahead, but a very important conversation gets had.
I would love to. Yes! Yes! This is one of the other moments where I was like, thank God it's me! You chose me! I'm so honored to finally figure out the mystery of what the fuck a spell is! God, it's a wonder. I'm so sorry, listener. I'm so sorry that I yelled at you just now. I'm so sorry, but God damn it. I'm so excited for this. Okay, take it away, Dani. Do it.
Yes. So and maybe we'll get there though, but they're sitting around. They've been introduced to all the babies, and they're getting around. And he's like, wow, these people are primitive. And Josie, he also calls all the human women ugly at one point, which is kind of funny.
Bitches are straight up gross.
He's sitting around waiting. Stacy's off to make him some eggs because no one else would eat her food, which I also thought was
Stacy's making him a yummy frittata. She's such a sweetie pants.
And Josie and Liz sort of corner him. And they're like, hey, what's up? We have an anatomy question for you. And they are not hesitant. It's like they're at the doctor's office or at their OBGYN and they have questions. And they're like, the spur, what's it for?
What does it do? Why is it? Tell me everything.
Appalled. And he also has this momentary fear that if he sits here and starts talking spurs with these women, their husbands are going to come up and kick his ass. He's such a coward. He makes some excuse and walks away. And Neri, our resident doctor, tells us what its purpose is. And it is all about pheromones. That's what everything's about, essentially.
It's a pheromone distributor.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because, and I kind of spoiled the spur thing in a preview episode, but we learned something else in this episode about the female Sa-khui.
Yeah.
And that, because we were always like, why do they have a spur if they don't have a clitoris? Mm-hmm. And then maybe they do? It's just all the way inside.
Yeah, that's true. That's interesting. I thought that they had more G-spot orgasm.
That's what I think. That's it. Yeah, and maybe my own understanding of anatomy is but there is a spot inside, and that is why our guy Marduk
Don't say it. Don't say it.
Okay.
Don't say it.
Yes. Okay.
Oh my God. Let's discover it with Farli. Oh my God.
So we have this very important conversation, and I'm super glad that...
Yeah, so the ladies are sitting there, and they're like, oh, it leaves the pheromones all up in the vulva folds. Mm-hmm. That makes more sense, because then, other males will be like, huh, smells like somebody else's... Yeah, I don't super know how to say that, but yeah, it sounds like... smells like I shouldn't be here, I guess. Question mark.
So it's like a mating thing. They're a mated pair, and it's like I guess when a cat rubs up on you. I don't know why I said that. At this party, while they're having a good night, so let's continue on with the plot. They're having this party. He's eating his frittata. Yeah, finds out he enjoys it. He looks off and he looks over, and our girl Harlow is once again not doing well.
Harlow, oh my God, this poor thing. She has been through so much. Harlow has it rough. Okay?
Yes.
Yeah, and so she just super collapses. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Now that I know what's going on, it makes total sense.
Mm-hmm. So he describes her looking very gaunt. Her stomach is huge. Her eyes are sunken. She's very pale. She's very thin. And when he looks over, she sort of collapses. And he sees her and he reaches her first. Rook comes, steals her away. Like, he's panicking. And he's like, we can... I don't remember if it's him or if it's Farli, but he's like, we can help her because we have the med bay.
Oh, no, he does. Marduk does. Because this is a pivotal thing about Marduk we find out a lot later. He says to himself, I'm not going to let anybody else die if I can change that. Like, if I can intercede and make them live, that is what I'm going to do. I don't care what it costs. I don't care about anything. Because the captain and the medic person are like, it costs a metric fuck ton of money to like run these machines, and these are strangers. And he's like, take it out of my pay, take it out of whatever. We're saving this woman.
I loved that whole... I was like, I'm so proud of you, Marduk. I loved it. That was so great.
Yeah.
Because Farli doesn't get it either. She's like, why did she hesitate? It's like, our poor sweet baby.
Yeah. I know. She's such a sweet baby angel. And he's like, it's a complicated business of like money and resources and whatever, but it doesn't matter because we're going to fix it. Mm-hmm. So they take her up to the ship, and you've done Harlow's book. So you know about her brain tumor.
Mm-hmm. So basically the Sa-khui can't handle her pregnancy and fight off the tumor at the same time.
Yeah,
right?
It's working so hard for poor Sa-khui. Like, I feel like we should give her another one and, like, do some teamwork or something. Have they tried that?
Can you get
Pop another one in there, is all I'm saying.
Do you get another mate?
I don't think you get another mate because the Sa-khuis know. And the next Sa-khui would know that it's Rook.
That's true.
Yeah, they would just do some teamwork, I think. They could just be roommates, right in her heart parts.
She needs something because they say, like, not only is she sick, her Sa-khui apparently is already, like, kind of weak. Like, she, I guess, didn't get a strong one when they gave her one.
Oh, interesting.
Because it's her sickness because they keep saying, like, didn't the healer say something like her Sa-khui is not strong?
Well, no, because it's working so hard. I mean, it's keeping a giant mass of a brain tumor at bay. And it's like it's a frontal lobe brain tumor. On Earth, it was, like, inoperable, and it was growing at a really fast pace. And this Sa-khui is like, telling it to stay back, but it can't do that and take care of a fetus at the same time. Oof.
Poor little Sa-khui.
So they take him to the med bay, and the med bay is like, I can fix her up right quick. And so they do that.
Mm-hmm. I think this would be a good part to like sort of introduce that, like, during this time, Marduk has sort of been, or maybe it's also later. I've read so many of these books at this point.
I know.
Plot points are just a giant porridge in my brain. But he tries to tell her about, like, what life is like off the planet. Like, he discusses concepts of war and, like, why Neri was so hesitant to spend the money and all these other things.
Yeah.
And he kind of sucks because Farli she's too pure for that. She's a cinnamon roll. And she doesn't really get it. So they do all that. Then they just go back and they have their first night together in her hut.
Yeah, they go back to the village.
And he's still cold, so she builds him a fire.
Woo!
And he strips, like, completely naked, and they get in the furs, and there's the heavy petting that starts happening.
Oh, boy, you guys. They do some more mouth mating, okay? And it is good stuff. And then And can I just say that I had such a huge consent boner throughout this thing? Because everything, every moment is like sexy. Like, can I do this more? Like, tell me what you like. Is there anything you don't want me to do? And she's like, can I explore you? And he's like, God, yes, please. And so she starts.
Can I touch you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Can I touch you here? Is there anywhere you don't want me to touch? Like, it's just so yummy. And so she starts like kissing up on him. And how does this happen? I forget what their conversation is. Oh, she asks, what about why they do the horn thing? Right? Why they cap the horns and do other body modifications.
Mm-hmm. And also, I think you were on the right path. She's like feeling him up and kissing him, and she notices that the skin on one part of his body does not look or feel the same as the skin on like the other part. And he tells her like it's artificial, and then he has to explain what all that is. Mm-hmm.
Right, and this is where she finds out that he was like super injured, like his whole arm was shot off. He has an artificial hip and like an artificial like waist and gut. I guess it's a lot. Woof.
He says like a hole was blown into him, so it feels like they had to rebuild like the whole left side of him or something.
Yeah. So she says, does it hurt to have your horns covered? And he says, not at all. It's just a trend, kind of like piercings. And she touches his earlobes and she's like, oh, like these? And she goes, is it just because it is pretty? And he goes, most are. Some are useful, like the one on my cock, you guys! Cock piercing. Yeah. Oh, here we go. So, I was so excited when this happened.
I forgot. I've read most of these books before. I forgot all about the dick piercing.
Everything about it is great. So she's like, what is that for? And he's basically like, I was a ladies' man when I was younger, and I got the piercing because it's more pleasurable for the woman. It's like on the front head of is the front of the head of his cock, and so it hits basically what we would understand is the G-spot, or the common understanding of what the G-spot is, because I have learned that on different women the G-spot can be roughly anywhere on the front on the anterior wall of the vagina. Crazy. It's so good. Anyway, so all I'm saying is if you've never had a G-spot orgasm, poke around in there, because I have one friend I'm serious. One friend, her G-spot is like right, like almost at the opening of her vagina, and another friend whose G-spot is like way up in there. So yeah, it's really neat. Anyway, so yeah, he has this piercing, and she says, and you had it pierced because it gives females more pleasure? I beam at him. You are so thoughtful, Marta. Hurting yourself so you can please your partner more. And he rubs his hand over his face again and looks embarrassed. I'm not a saint, Farli. I did it because I liked hearing the girls scream my name.
Oh, you have to read the next paragraph.
And then she goes, I will. She goes, I frown because hearing him say it like that makes me jealous. Have a lot of females screamed your name? Do they use your full name or just Marta? He goes, this is seriously awkward, Farli. He strokes my arm. I haven't been with a woman in well over 3 years. Haven't wanted anyone to touch me. You're the first person I've wanted in forever. Does that help? And she goes, a little.
A little? I just
do they use your full name or can I just scream Marta? Do I need to remember all of it?
Oh my gosh. I loved it. I also love when she asks if they could try it with the piercing and without.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And he's like,
nah, once like, it's in, it's in.
Nope. We're not messing with that. But this does lead to a kind of serious moment because he has made it pretty clear that he is leaving. And so she says, oh, like I'm going to be the first one in a while. So does that mean that when you leave me, you're going to go seek out the pleasures of other women? And he goes, I don't even want to think about leaving. And I don't want to think about anyone else but you. And he says, I'm not sure I could let another woman touch me.
Oh. And she says, you should be mine and mine alone. And this smile curves his mouth again. I agree.
Oh. It's so wonderful.
And so they do sort of, this is the start of both of them sort of agonizing over, they have these strong feelings for each other. Who will stay and who will go. And so they've got to sort of...
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I know this is your podcast, but come on. So she goes down on him, okay?
Oh, we were going to get there. But I wanted to introduce the background and the context because there's a very...
Anyway, I'm sorry. Please continue.
I like your priorities, though. I love your priorities.
I'm nothing if not consistent.
Well, because she goes down on him, and then like he starts like basically when it's time for him to come, he won't come inside her because he's worried about getting her pregnant.
He goes down on her. Whoa. Then he goes down on her. Okay.
I am messing up the sex scene.
Do not besmirch the name Marduk. He's reciprocative, okay? Reciprocative. That's a new one. He reciprocates is what I'm saying. And then as he's doing that, he's like, oh my God, I just need to be inside her. So, because also, you guys, this is brand new to him. He's never put his mouth on another person's skin, let alone their vulva. And so he is super stoked about it. And since she doesn't have a clitoris, we get like a really good tongue fucking scene. He's like very serious about the tongue fucking. And their tongues, as we've learned from other books, are like ridged and inflated, and it's everything like a cat or something.
Sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything makes more sense.
I know. Oh, so thank you for choosing me. And so he oh yeah. So then he's like, I am so turned on. I need to be inside her. I've got to do it. And then he's like, oh fuck. I can't, because we learned, oh my God, also, Dani!
Oh, we did forget. We forgot the scan scene.
Yeah! We learned about what resonance actually is. You guys. Oh my God.
And then please explain this, because it brings up another question that I need to ask, because we learned something else new.
I'm here for all of your questions.
So while she's on the ship getting her health scanned, she's sitting there by herself because, we're taking a step back.
Yeah. Sorry, you guys.
Scene.
We're going to rewind, but we will get you back to the sex scene, we promise.
So she's getting a health scan from Nari, and Marduk is not in the room because when Farli starts stripping, Nari gets super offended and sends him out of the room.
Yeah.
So she's getting her health scan, blah, blah, blah. He comes back to get her, and
her cooey starts purring.
And something on Neri's little screen pings. She looks down and she goes, huh. And then she...
Interessante, Neri says.
And then she says, I'm done here. Marduk, can we talk in private?
Yeah. Hey, Marduk, let's have a chat, shall we?
Exactly. So they go out in the hallway, and she's like, all right, bro, tell me what's happening between you and her. Because I know something is happening between you and her. Yeah. Because literally the moment you walked into the room, she ovulated.
You guys, resonance every time the lady resonates, she drops an egg. I cannot believe they don't have more like thirtuplets. You know what I mean?
It's well, yeah. Oh my God, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
because I was gonna say she also mentions having a menstrual cycle,
right?
And I'm like, so now trying to combine both of those things into one? I don't see how that works at all.
What are you talking about?
I guess it could.
Sure, it does. What?
Because that's what menstruation is about. It's like getting the egg ready, but like resonance seems like it could strike at any time. So I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe it does.
Listen,
Maybe you.
Here's what I've figured out in my brain map so far.
Okay. I'm open to any and all.
All right. Here's my theory. Okay. So, when the Sa-khui enters your body, it starts changing your physiology. As we know, it can cure brain cancer. It can spit out your IUD. It can do all the things, right?
It's doing a whole bunch of things.
That's right. It makes your skin glow, and it increases your body temperature. I think what it also does is it keeps your eggs at bay. Like, it keeps them in the ovary, still getting produced, but, like, produced more, so that when it decides your body is at peak, let's make a babiness, it can just spit out eggs whenever your partner comes into the room. Brrr, egg. Brrr, egg.
Egg.
Right? And so menstruation still happens because you gotta keep the baby factory clean. You know, sweep it out once a month,
That's
right?
True.
You don't have to be getting rid of an egg every month. You just gotta keep it in working order until the cooey is like, brrr, egg.
That's true.
That's my theory.
And you know what? I can work with that theory because that makes sense. I can deal with that. Yes.
Yeah.
And I guess since these women are pregnant half the time they've been on this planet, just having general courses hasn't been a problem.
Yeah, exactly. You're pregnant for 3 goddamn years.
And they all got like knocked up within a year of being on this planet.
And being pregnant for 3 years is its own problem. However, I just if here's the problem with my theory, okay? And I'm putting it out there for everybody to ruminate on, okay? How are there not more quintuplets? If it's spitting out an egg every time your partner walks into a room, how are not all of his sperms connecting with all of those eggs? You know what I mean?
Because they're all just got to be bouncing around in there.
I mean, they're just, they're like ping pong balls. You know, they gotta be. So I don't know.
So you've got people like Josie and Farli where like the residence happens and they don't, hook up right away. Josie was running around for a month. How many eggs was that thing spitting out?
I know. Maybe the cooey also creates like an escape hatch. Oop, egg didn't get used. Bye-bye. Or like, egg has wonky chromosomes. Bye-bye. And it's a different thing than like what a normal miscarriage would be or what a normal period would be when you just get rid of the egg that's unused. I don't know, man. I don't know.
But this is a good start. I can work with this. Yeah.
Yeah. That's right. Sometimes I'm a genius. It's one of those times.
So humble too. I love it.
Yeah. I know my worth sometimes. All right.
We all should. So yes. So now we can fast forward back to the furs.
So she goes down on him and she likes it a lot. And he's finally like, no, you gotta come back. Oh, and this girl is so my girl. Because he's like, if you keep going, I'm going to come all over your beautiful face. And she's like, you can. I would like that. We can do that in the future if you would like. But he's like, no. So then he goes down on her. He super likes it. She comes like a freight train. And then he's like, oh God, I can't come inside her because I'm not going to leave her. I'm not going to abandon her with a baby. Mm-hmm. And so if she ovulates every time she purrs, the chances of me impregnating her are huge. It sounds like that's exactly what this cooey is trying to get us to do.
That is its end goal, yes.
Yeah, so he just strokes himself off and comes on her stomach. And sweet baby angel thinks that he just did a whoopsie.
Better.
Aw. She's like, oh, that's all right. Next time you can come inside me. Isn't this, after he has the whoopsie, isn't this also the scene where he tells her that he can remove the cooey and the other option is that she can go, like, adventure in the galaxy with him?
This is, yes. At some point, she realizes. Yeah. And it makes sense because that's after she's seen what the surgery machine can do for Harlow.
Right.
So we know that's an option. Yeah. And so they go back, after their night, they go back to the tribe. And it's really cute. Her brothers take Marduk out on a hunt. There's a really cute moment where I think Pashov or Zennik is mocking one or both of them at the same time. He's acting like Farli with like the hair flips, but he's saying, don't touch her, she's my mate. And even Farli's like, which one of us are you pretending to be? I don't know why. I love that whole moment.
Well, and right before then, the whole tribe is basically like, they're awake! Like, ooh, the new mated pair is awake. And can I just tell you, this resonated so deeply with me on like a Marduk level because he's pretty embarrassed about this. And the morning after I gave away my virginity, because of course I did it on like a trip where a bunch of people would know about it because there were logistics involved and people had to drive me places in order for this thing to happen. I walked into a room the next morning and the entire room started applauding.
Oh, so humiliating. I would refuse to come into the room. I'd be like, bye.
I bowed and then I fucked off.
Points for the bow. It's a good baller move.
Bow and wave and see you dicks later because you guys are dicks.
Yes. Oh my gosh, to clap. Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's all right.
Oh, poor little Melody. But that's what he is. He feels super embarrassed, and then they take her hunting. And while they're out doing that, she runs into her old group of admirers.
Oh my god, they come visit. Yeah. Yes. She's just trying to feed Chompy and like mind her own business. And Sessa and Taushen come up and they're like,
well, they have good intentions, I think. At least Taushen does.
They do.
Because he's like, congratulations, we're going to go take part in the Sa-khui's hunt. And we learned that to do that means you're like accepting of the coupling, blah, blah, blah. And they're cool with it until they hear that Marduk might not stay.
Right.
And Sessa, I keep wanting to call him Sasa. Sessa gets real surly about it.
Oh, he's mad. He's like, how dare he take one of the only unmated females and then fuck off? Like, exactly. How dare he?
He is
So he
mad.
storms off in a post-pubescent rage. And then Taushen, bless him, Taushen comes over and he's like, listen, if you have become kitted with this man, I don't know what he says.
You know what? That works. It gets to the point. If you are bekitted.
Yeah. And he's like, and your kit needs a father. I will be that hunter for you.
It's a very good stand-up moment. That's why I was like, we can't come for Taushen at the scene because he is coming.
No, Taushen is the best. He is.
Yes.
I would love to read his book. I need to figure that out. Although if it's in a storyline later on, then I have words about it.
We will get there. We will get there. We will get there.
We will get there.
So, and she does have this little moment. He's like, you'll make a good mate someday. And he's all sad. Yeah. And he's like, someday. And I was like, oh, Taushen, sweetie. You're killing me. This is why she's so good. I'm already invested.
I know.
I'm so
absolutely.
Invested now.
I'm completely invested. Yeah. She just let me give you all my money, Ruby Dixon. So then she has this crisis of like, oh my God, it all just like sort of falls down on her. And she needs her mama because sometimes you need your mama.
Mm-hmm. But she has this heart to heart with her mother, and her mother has to tell her, I can't make this decision for you. Because it's either Farli goes with her mate and leaves her whole family behind and her whole tribe forever.
There's no coming back.
They make it kind of clear that they cannot come back to this planet because I guess it's too far away, or it's not. It's something.
It's out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. Or she stays on the ice planet and she loses Marduk. And you know what? I kind of thought like, why though? I was on team make Marduk stay from jump.
Oh my God. Same here. Actually, I wanted to ask you if you were on the same page with me because in my brain throughout this whole book, I was like, okay, I'm guaranteed an HEA. And I'm so glad because the only HEA possible in my brain is Marduk gets over his bullshit and stays.
Yes.
He has nothing to lose, and she has so much to lose.
She has everything.
Yeah, like, just stay. Get over the fact that you won't be able to, like, I don't know, produce more metals, and just stay on the goddamn planet. Get over yourself. One of his things is, like, I don't have anything to offer you, which is such a misogynistic, like, you know, firmly heteronormative, I need to be the quote unquote provider, whatever.
Yeah.
But he's like, I don't have anything to offer you. I can't hunt. I don't know how to make a fur. I don't know how to do any of this. Like, I don't even know how to cook. Our ship makes all our food for us. So I don't know what the fuck I would do here. I'm a mechanic and that's all I could offer. And meanwhile, I'm like, what do you think Farli can offer you out in the great wide world? I mean, she's a fast learner and she's totally capable and whatever, but you guys are in the same exact position, except that you don't have any family or friends or ties or anything. And Farli has this whole beautiful, happy life. It's like she lives in Bhutan, like is that what it's called? the country, the happiest country in the whole wide world.
Where
Bhutan.
they did a survey? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She basically has this whole Bhutan on ice planet, and he's like, but it's so fucking cold. And I'm like, get you a kui, bro. Like, I get it. He doesn't understand the kui, and I am also anti-cold, but Jesus, Marduk.
And also, it would be easier for him to adjust to the ice planet than it would be for her to come to this culture where she doesn't know what war is. She doesn't understand money. She's coming from a completely different place.
Yeah, he has one culture shock. If she were to go out in the galaxy, she would have 11 billion culture shock. Plus technology shock. Yes. Plus, I mean, come on, Marduk.
Yeah. And he kind of says, like, he even says to himself, they would ruin her. They would chip away at everything that makes her unique. They would try to tame her. How dare they? Yes, that's what he says. Mm-hmm. He does have, to be fair, his issue is related to his trauma. And so, like, we learn that part of his, like, PTSD was, the details got a little fuzzy, but all you really need to know is that he was part of this failed, like, military action where they went in to fight some rebels, I think, or a militia.
Listen, yeah, he was like a Navy SEAL of the alien.
Yes.
Okay? So they sent him in. He made a bad call. And then he made a series of bad calls. And somehow the rebels were tipped off and they were waiting to slaughter them dead. And so he's with this troop of guys and all of them were getting mowed down. And then he says that they all got to retreat. And by that point, he finds out that the coward pilot that he chose for this mission has fucked off because he doesn't want to deal with rebels.
And abandoned them there. He's got big issues with being left behind or abandoned. And and like, I don't know, for me, I feel like there's a big difference between you taking the active choice to willingly stay on this ice planet with a woman you, like, resonated with versus being abandoned in the middle of a war zone. But I've never dealt with those kind of traumas, so we knew that there was only one way this book could end happily.
It has to be them stay.
Yes,
they stay. Yes, right? Yeah.
Yes. So,
I'm glad you're with me on that one.
Yes, I'll go along with it for the sake of a plot of the emotional angst.
Right.
So,
and honestly, it wasn't even that angsty. Just because I was like, jokes though, right? Like, no worries.
Yeah. And I kind of jumped ahead. He doesn't reveal that to her until the night where they
later.
have, like,
that's fine.
Yeah, and they have, like, full on P and V sex.
Whoa. Okay, we'll tell them when it happens.
I'm either too early or too late.
No, I love that when you're like, this hugely pivotal emotional plot happens, and I'm like, exactly, let's explain it all right now. And then you're like, in this romance book, they do P and V sex when it's a heterosexual romance book, and I'm like, how dare you? Don't spoil it until we get there. Oh my god, I'm a Muppet. Oh,
I love it.
Okay, sorry.
But she spends the afternoon agonizing, and then she learns about his whole, like, I can't be left behind thing.
Well, wait, so then they spend the next days. They spend the next, like, 3 or 4 days going down on each other and angsting about being apart soon. Like, then they go down on each other, and then they angst about being apart.
So they don't have the full-on sex at that point?
No.
I thought they were having 3 days of all full-on.
No, because it's pivotal because she, it's from his perspective, and he's like, she hasn't said a word to me about coming inside her since that first night, and he assumes it's because she knows he doesn't want to abandon her with a baby. And so she doesn't pressure him to have full on, like, to claim her as fully as a mate as they should, or however they say it. And he is sort of agonizing about that too, because she's just too pure for this world. You know, he's like, she's so good. She doesn't even want to pressure me about that because she knows that I have problems with it. And I won't even make words to tell her that I have a problem with it. Anyway. Yeah. So then they decide that they're going to go over to the Elder Cave.
That's right. I forgot all about the scene.
Yeah, because they can use their ship to turn it back over, and then because in the Great Earth Shake, right?
Yes.
It gets tipped over or whatever.
Yes.
So Harlow is feeling a lot better, but Rook is still like, woman in sled. Rook.
He's
Rook
being he's hovering.
Yeah, he's so cute. So, so they lose themselves for the whole day. Harlow and Marduk tinkering on this old ass computer.
Yes. And they discover the big error in it, because that was a big mystery too.
Yeah.
The ship's been telling them that they've only been there for 300 years. And for Harlow, who can do basic math, thank you very much, realizes that doesn't make sense if some of the long-lived Sa-khui they live like 150 years and they have absolutely no memory of the ship.
Right.
They have no oral stories of it landing. Like, they are completely disconnected from it.
Yeah.
We also learned that maybe it's connected to a sound. Because she brings up the very valid point, like, well, if the ship is 1,000 years old and a lot of this English that it knows is not that old, how is it getting updated? So, like, it may have a satellite link to something. Which is that going to come back?
It's picking up radars from all the places. All right, no worries. So then after this, so Farli's like hanging out with Rukar, the kid,
little baby.
Yeah, the little baby face. And then she comes over and she's like, drink water because you have not looked away from that screen for 7 hours. And he's like, oh my God, I didn't even know. I should have spent this last day with you. It's our last day. And she goes, don't worry about it. Just being in your presence makes me happy. And then they decide to camp out on the ship, and it's really cute. Meanwhile, Trekken is about, because he's, oh my God, we forgot about the big fight scene. I guess it doesn't matter. There's a big fight, though. Marduk throws some punches.
It's more of that tension he has with Trekken. That's what I'm calling him now.
Yeah, Trekken.
Being kind of a condescending dick, because he's got two of the hunters, and he's, like, gambling, and he's like, and Marduk's like, what the hell are you gambling with them for? They don't have any money. What could they possibly have that you want? And he's like, just... So he's kind of being an asshole, and they get in a fight, and you're right. It doesn't really lead to anything except Marduk spending the night in the village. That's why he spends the night with Farli. That's why they spend the night in the village.
Yes! Okay. I mean, it could also be because they want to go down on each other, but that's fine.
That too. They didn't really need an excuse.
No, I didn't need one. It's cool. So, they decide to camp out on the ship, and he and Trekken have this conversation where he's like, hey, make good choices or whatever, and I'm going to go back to the ship. Don't worry, I'll make sure the captain doesn't leave you behind.
Yeah. And when he says make good choices, he means stay with the woman who loves you. Not in general good choices.
No, not like say no to drugs, but like, oh, yo, that lady really likes you a lot. Get over yourself.
I just like him telling him, don't smoke, don't drink.
Gets back by 11, okay? Make good choices at that prom. So
maybe I just work with too many teenagers, but that's exactly where I went.
Yeah. So then, Farli is so intuitive, everyone, listener. She's so intuitive. And so she's like, tell me about what's going on in your heart and your brain, because you're not okay. What's happening? And this is where we learn about his big war trauma and the idea of watching another ship fly away from him and being stranded on another planet, because he was stranded and wounded in this mass of bodies of his friends for like 3 days.
Yes.
It's a big bad.
Yeah. And like, I get it to a point.
Yeah. Oof. And so she's like, okay, I understand why you can't stay with me, but I also understand that we're destined to be together. And so I will go with you.
She says, I cannot leave him. If it means choosing between my people and the man I love, the mate I am destined to have, I pick him. I touch his face, gently turning him toward me. I will go when you leave.
Oh,
she's so selfless, because that's such a big thing. Like, she's gonna say bye to everyone she's ever known.
Yeah. Well, and also remember, she has no idea what love feels like without her Kui. So throughout the whole book, she's been like, "What if we take out my Kui, and I no longer feel anything for you? What if it feels like nothing, or what if it's diminished?" Because of the biological response that this Kui gives me. And it's a big concern, you know?
She really values the connection that the Sa-khui gives them, like residence in the bond. It's a connection for her, and she doesn't want to lose that by having her Sa-khui removed.
Right. So she decides she's going to leave. And that actually comes up later on, you were saying, because the captain is like, I need everybody to tell me whether or not they want to go. And he is very shocked when none of them want to leave, including the women who know what quasi D-class modernity is, you know?
Yeah. Well, because they bring up very good points. It's like, well, we can't show up on Earth with these blue alien husbands.
We got blue kids who have horns.
Yeah. And she's like, also, we're considered freaks everywhere else in your galaxy. So, like, where are we going to go?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Illegal freaks. They're not allowed to be. Yeah. Like, they're black market contraband is what they are. Like, so they can't literally just, like,
get an apartment on Homeworld and, like, chill.
Oh, my God. Wait, I'm so sorry. I
have
to say something that I forgot to say in all of our intimate scenes.
Yes,
and that is the addition of the second tail. Dani. 2 tails, Dani!
They do. They use it like another appendage.
Oh my God, I love it. So every time they're making out or like hooking up or whatever, they'll say they grab each other's tails with each other's tails. They intertwine them just like Dani so eloquently put. And they say that it feels like just as intimate as like a dick lick, you know? It's it's so good. They're hugging each other in every way possible. And maybe sometimes they don't hold hands, they just hold tails. I just love it.
And it's so cute. And it's just so creative how like she went full, and that's why I'm so glad she did 2 aliens.
Yeah.
She went full in and she explored like, this is what you can do. This is how these aliens live. And it's like, it's so good. It's so creative.
Yeah, because let's recall, okay, the nice thing about one person not having a tail is that you do have access to doggy style.
That's
all right,
true.
And fine. But, oh man, this whole holding tails thing really just warms
really sweet.
Every corner of my heart.
And he would kind of hold her down and hold the tail down. It was really good.
Oh boy. Yeah, when he would like hold her down on those furs. I can't even. Okay, he's so sexy. All right.
So we're going to get to, this is the scene, because after she decides.
Yeah, we're here.
We're here now. I jumped the gun a couple times. I jumped the gun many times.
You did it. You did so well. You're the best.
I guess I couldn't wait. No, but now they have full on. And she wrote this really well. I was like, this is intense.
They have some
all
penetrative
the
sex. The
eye contact.
This sexy fucking alien. He is like, so they're doing some missionaries, right? And he's like, you don't get to look away from me. I want you right here with me the whole time. You come when I'm inside you, and then when I need you with me when I come too. And it is intense. It's also because of his piercing.
Oh, that's right.
Right up on her G-spot. She comes like 7 times in a row. Like she's having a really, really hard time keeping a hold of her molecules.
Yes.
Because of all the times she's coming. It's so great.
And again and again and again. And so like there's just, I can't get past the staring. There is so much like staring during this scene.
It is serious business, and I did not hate it. Normally, I am known for like a not liking a making the love thing, you know? I don't super like it. But this was like intense. I mean, it was love making, but it didn't cross over to icky for me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, or like being creepy.
Yeah. Ooh,
walking in on a scene you weren't supposed to see. Yeah.
Ooh.
So, yes. But then as soon as they're done, she starts crying.
Yeah, she just had 7 G-spot orgasms in a row, and she's thinking about what sex is going to be like without her Sa-khui in the future. Of course she's overwhelmed. She just starts sobbing. She's walking away from everything she loves, all because of this person. Oh,
who she
God.
also loves.
Who she also loves, down to her bones. Yes. I cannot believe. Oh my gosh. Farli is just She's just magic. Okay.
So after it begins that, it kind of jumps, because that is their last night. So they wake up the next day.
It's time to leave.
It's time to go. And he describes Farli and her whole tribe, like everyone's hugging her and wishing her goodbye. And it's just so sad. And this is where everyone's like, we're not going. We're all staying here.
Yeah.
And he's sort of like, throughout this whole book, he's sort of like picked up on like, yeah, they're out here with nothing, but they're all happy.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
They're so happy. They're so much happier than my people with all of our body gloves and disease and wars and technology and complications and money and jobs and all the business that gets in the way of true fated mate love. Okay, everybody? So maybe we should get back to basics is what Murdoch is thinking to himself. Especially since he has nothing to offer her.
He has no family. He's going to have no job.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand.
It makes no sense.
He just doesn't want to be in the snow. He comes around. I'm so glad.
Yeah, he does. Oh boy, does he ever. He's so sexy.
So they get on the ship and it's very dramatic. I was here for it. They get on the ship and she's like saying bye and she's so sad and she's so heartbroken. And Vektal does this little thing where he's like, you all are welcome to visit us anytime. He's like, I know he's saying that for Farli. Yeah. And they get on the ship and he has this like moment where he realizes he's like, what am I doing? I'm taking her away from her family to go live in this cold, big city where she doesn't know anyone, where she doesn't know anything.
Comes to all of the realizations we just said out loud. Come on, Murdoch, you dummy.
What does it?
What's up?
I just landed on the page. What does it is because Neri comes up and she's like, come on, let's go get that parasite out of you. And like Farli kind of flinches and he's like,
and
parasite.
Murdoch does too.
Yeah. He's like a parasite. That's all this thing that's really important to her is viewed as. Like she doesn't. And so that's what really starts him to thinking about like what she's giving up and what's happening right now.
Yeah. And so the engines are turning on and the snow is a blustering around and they're about to shoot off into space. And so Murdoch reaches over on the wall and he hits the emergency panic button. Wee-oo, don't take off. Somebody needs to get off of this ship. Wee-oo. Yeah, it's serious business. And so everybody comes running because they're like, what is attacking you? And they're like, my heart. I have come to a big idea and we gotta get the fuck out of here. And so he gets off and then Trekken, who has become roughly addicted to their Sa-khui drink.
Yes, that's kind of hinted at. He really likes that alcohol.
He really liked it.
Isn't he like nursing a hangover?
Oh, always. When he lands on this planet, he is constantly hungover.
Yes, or drunk.
Yeah. So this didn't quite track for me, Dani. Did it track for you?
Okay.
Like, for the past, the captain is like, this is the absolute deadline in which we have to take our kelp to the place where we have to go. And then they're like, party! If we're staying, then like, may as well stay for the feast. What?
I did kind of hiccup at that. I was like, weren't y'all in a hurry? Aren't we like, time is money is time? Like, I thought they were going to literally just kick him off and be like, okay, peace. But no, they get off to have another party. Night. Haven't they been partying for 3 days almost?
They have been perma-partying. And I don't blame them. You know, I mean, may as well make the most of it. But geez.
Because Trekken is like, well, I can't send my buddy off without a drink or something along those lines.
I was like, you guys are not friends.
That too.
He just wants more of that Sa-khui.
He really does.
But this is where the captain and Murdoch have a chat, and he gives the captain all of his monies. And the captain says, I think you're making the right choice.
Yes.
And Murdoch is like, I didn't take advantage of the connections that I had in my world, and so I'm definitely not going to miss a moment here in the ice planet world. And it's so yummy, you guys. And like, Farli's already pregnant. I know it. And
well, they do. They leave the party before we get to our next scene. It basically leaves with Farli being like, let's go make a baby. And they run off and like the residence people are like cheering them on. That's the one thing I don't like about all these residence parties. It's like, can y'all just let them make an escape? Yeah. Be a little more subtle.
Oh, they can't. Can't stop, won't stop.
Yes. So they run off. And while they're run off handling that, we switch to a completely new character.
You guys.
Beck.
I am Concernicus.
So a little intro. Beck has been like, after Haydn got mated, and he's like, oh, I'm not the tribe asshole anymore. I guess Ruby was like, well, somebody's got to be the asshole in this
tribe. We need an asshole. Yeah, sure.
He was a little grumpy. Yeah. He was, but Beck is much grumpier than Haydn ever was. And I don't know if Haydn would ever participate in interstellar human trafficking.
In slavery?
The way a certain someone
Oh my
does.
God.
He pulls Captain and Trekken aside, and they go on the ship, and he's like, listen, take anything you want. It's not the Elder Cave.
No, it's the ship that Kira crashed.
Oh, I thought it was the ship Maddie and Lila. It's some ship that
No, Maddie and Lila were in the chambers of the ship that Kira crashed.
Oh, okay. So, it's all the same ship. That makes sense. Yes.
Yeah.
So he takes them. He's like, listen, no one, that other ship is the Elder Cave. It's related to like our people, but no one cares about this ship. You can go and you can salvage whatever you want. So he's kind of bored, like watching them like look over the ship, and they find a box, I guess, just full of money.
They find a treasure trove. They find a treasure trove of money. They find a fortune, and they're very excited about it.
And apparently it's like they are on Easy Street. It's this much money. And Beck is like, okay, there's just one cost. I want you to bring human... Does he say human, or does he just say women? I want you to bring women.
He says illegal human women. Because they're like, yeah, so you got these women because the people on this ship were doing some illegal slaveries. And Beck is like, good. You can take all of this monies, but my price is that you bring 5 more enslaved human women to our planet, and we'll treat them real good, and we'll like pet their mane, and we'll feed them lots of foods, I guess. We'll get them a Sa-khui right away, but Beck is doing a slavery right now.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I don't.
And the captain's like, that's not going to be easy. And he's like, that's my price. And so that leads us to the next book.
Yeah, but also Beck. Bing, boom, bong. Like, bad deals with Beck. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
What would make them come? Why would they come back? Is he not giving them the money yet? Is that what's happening? Because I was under the impression they were going to fuck off with the money and then come back with 5 slaves out of the goodness of their heart.
I don't know. And I don't know. I've got to go see. And now that you bring that up, like, I don't remember the details of the transaction.
What makes them come back with bitches is what I'm asking you.
But I'm assuming it's a half now, half later situation. I would hope so.
I mean, I guess, but Beck is a dum-dum.
But they do, I can't say that to spoil it too much, they do come back. So I don't remember the details. But yeah, he makes arrangements to get more women brought to his planet.
He's doing slavery. I don't like it, Beck. Beck, you're a slaver now. I don't like it. Don't do that.
So, and like, I'm trying to figure it out because it seems Beck hasn't seemed that desperate so far in the books. He's been like kind of surly, and he's like, yeah, the asshole, but he hasn't seemed like, I am really desperate for a mate right now.
Yeah, I don't know. And like, so it's one thing. I want to read these books just because I want to see how Ruby writes her way out of this. Because it's one thing to have these women enslaved by other people, abused by other people, and then rescued and mated by this tribe. It's a whole other thing to be like, hey, supple 22-year-old from Earth, really sorry that we
put it in order for you.
Yeah, you just had to say goodbye to your whole life and everything you know, but I just purchased you for salvage monies because I am your slaver now. What? That's a different situation.
It is. I will say his book is probably one of my favorites. She handles it very well.
I mean, only she could.
I don't know if I deserve to put the very in front of there. Like, I don't want to make that leap of judgment for other people, but I thought she handled it well.
Okay.
And so, yeah, because it's one of my favorites. It's basically, not to spoil too much, it's like in line with Farli. Like, he doesn't realize the full consequences. He's just like, well, get us ladies. They're out there. Get us ladies. Bring us some here. And he doesn't really realize, like, okay, but you're participating in this really big, like.
But if that's the case, why wouldn't he say to the people, hey, you got any Sa-khui ladies who want to get simplified? He specifically says, get us human women who are illegal. And, like, he watched Ariana, whatever her name is, cry for 2 seasons straight. Like, he knows on some level that this was traumatic for them.
Mm-hmm. But, and, like, I think, not to spoil it again.
All right.
She makes it work because he.
All right. I mean, I'm sure she will.
Yeah. He sees it as them helping them because you're going to come here and you're going to get this big, strong hunter mate and he's going to take care of you and love you. And, like, we're just here to make you happy. And, like, they have to, like, sort of explain to him, like, look, bro, like, you did a bad. So I will say, I think it's one of my favorites.
I guess I could see how it could be framed as okay if the dudes merely intercepted a black market thing. Yeah. Okay, all right, because they could be sending them to anywhere to do anything,
fresh ones. That was so
weird.
They don't they don't go and abduct women from Earth. They go and they get women who have already been
abducted,
and that's what makes it. He's like, look, they were illegal slaves. We saved them, but now they're safe and we're taken care of. And, like,
their fate could have been a lot worse, I suppose.
And that's part of it. And that's why he's like, I did a good thing. And that's why it takes him a while to realize, okay, maybe I didn't do entirely a good thing.
Oh, okay, that makes more sense. All right, as long as they didn't go and, like, abduct ladies out of their world. He just does, like, a midpoint slavery.
Yes. And I'll say. Yeah, and I'll say the book doesn't treat it like, oh, there's no problem here. Which is why I let it get away with it, because the book is like, oh, no, this is kind of a problem
here. Good. Yes.
It's,
all right.
It's one of my favorites. And it's titled Redemption, Barbarian's Redemption. So, somebody's got to be redeemed.
All right. And it's Peck. His name is Peck. And he's right now a slaver. Like, he is currently doing a slavery.
He is.
And I'm not into it.
He is.
So, that barbarian's gonna redeem himself. Yes. Maybe through cunnilingus.
You know what? It's a good bet. It's a safe bet. I think you can put money on that
one. All right, fair enough. So then what happens?
We get the epilogue. Erin admitted she does not read epilogues.
I read epilogues.
I did too. She was very passionate about it. I was like, I didn't know that.
She hates epilogues.
Has that ever come up on an episode? I was like, this is brand new. I didn't know.
Several times. Yeah.
So, because in this epilogue, there's not much, and it fits in an epilogue. It's basically, he's dealing with being left behind. They're going to get his Sa-khui, and he's happy. He made the right choice. Yeah. Which we all know.
Well, so one of the biggest, like, PTSD things in his mind was, I don't want to watch the ship fly away from me. And so they very, very astutely just go on the Sa-khui hunt.
Yeah.
And so he doesn't watch the ship fly away. He just goes hunting for this Sa-khui. And then he gets his Sa-khui, and then he's like, ooh, I'm so warm from the inside. I'm going to be nakedsies on this fur on the outside with my woman. And so she's trailing her fingers over his tattoos, and he's, I don't know, looking up at the stars or whatever. There is
a lot of star looking.
Good.
Yeah. And he resonates to her back. Like, he finally reciprocates.
Done. Yeah. Oh, but I do really like the other moment I loved in this epilogue is that he says he doesn't feel, like, hugely different about her. He feels like the same, except now there's a thrumming in his chest.
Yeah.
Oh! Because love is love, everyone.
It is.
Oh.
And the Queen's just doing such a good job at matching people up. I love that little worm.
I know.
So yeah, and it ends. It's super sweet. With her, I'm never going to be alone again. That's our last sentence, and I was like, oh, Marta.
Yeah.
I love it. So yes, I really enjoyed this one. I loved getting Farli's story. I love the 2 aliens. I love seeing, like, other elements of this universe. It was so good.
And so many questions answered?
Yes, like biology, history, everything.
Plus tail entwining? Dani, thank you for choosing me for this book.
Glad.
I am elated.
I so glad. I was like, this is a fun one. I feel like Melody would appreciate it.
Oh, it's wonderful.
So
totally wonderful.
So are you thinking, even though you had issues, do you think you'll check out the next one? Or are you gonna check out Beck's book? Or are you gonna, at some point, I'm not saying like immediately, but are you curious about checking out?
I think I'll have to check out Beck's book.
Yeah.
I gotta figure out how she does it.
It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, I mean, she is masterful, so I'm sure she can do it. It's just, yeah.
Barbarian's redemption. So they did a lot, because I was not liking Beck for the longest, and a lot of people said that he's kind of an asshole. Bigger asshole than, I don't know, was he a bigger asshole than Haydn? I feel like Haydn was just an asshole to Josie.
Yeah.
And Beck is an asshole to everyone.
Here's the thing. Haydn is surly.
Yes.
There's a difference between surly and an asshole.
Okay.
I think.
He was
in my mind.
I mean, you're true. I think that's true. I thought he was kind of mean to Josie a few times.
Yeah, sure.
She's got a
but
big
she's
mouth.
Also,
I get it.
She's also a chirping chihuahua. Like, I don't blame him. I don't know. She's not his speed until they resonate. It's fine.
Yes. Yeah. I love that one. That's
and then
my
he loves
nostalgia
everything about her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love how they, more than anyone, just pop up in the series where, like, with their 4 kids and, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think that's it. That's it for Barbarian's Choice. Did you have anything else you wanted to say, or?
It's wonderful.
Yes.
Let me see. Well, you have some wrap-up summation here. I don't know if you want to do it or not.
I did. Like, is this? I kind of know the answer. I feel like I know the answer to this one because I listen to your podcast. Is this the craziest thing you've read? Have you read crazier? I feel like it can't be. It can't be.
I mean, I think that it's up there with Grace Goodwin's Interstellar Bride series, but it doesn't quite hit that level of societies based on double penetration, cousin stuff.
Triplets? I heard there were triplets. Is that it?
Oh my god, yeah. Mated to the Vikings. The Vikings. It's 3 brothers. Or like so the first one I think is 3 brothers, the Vikings, and then the second one with the Viking one is just 3 dudes, I'm pretty sure. Oh,
there's more than one?
Oh, of course. Are you kidding me? Every one of the, and then there's also this I can't remember. There's like a beast sort of alien. I can't remember what they're called. And then there's also an alien that's like super into body piercings and spanking benches and stuff. So
very particular. Very
Grace
unique to that species.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
I was like, this can't be. So that other note needed to be. I didn't ask you what I've been asking everyone.
What's up?
You're on the ice planet, okay? You've crashed.
Yeah.
You are on this ice planet. What is your role?
Ooh, that's tough.
And I think I asked Aaron. I hope I asked Aaron.
Oh, I would be the tribe butcher.
Just hacking up the meat.
Yeah. I used to do all the butchering on my farm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I've butchered everything from chicken to chickens, rabbits, goats, pigs, deer.
Oh, so you're well suited.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're like Liz.
Well, she's more of a hunter. I could probably do the hunting too. But yeah, I would definitely, once they brought the kill back, I could butcher that shit right up. My friend made a business card for me one time that said, I can make bacon out of you. Because it's true. Anything with a loin, I can make bacon out of you.
It's a vague threat? Or
So that would be one of my jobs. I'm sure I would moonlight doing other things, though.
I could be
the tribe jester.
Not enough people listen. I feel like people don't understand how important that's gonna be. There's no TV, There's no books.
That's
why they're always gossiping about each other and watching each other run off to have sex in caves, because there's literally nothing else to do.
Hell yes. Oh, I would also be the resident sex educator.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, I would be right there next to Josie and Liz being like, tell me about Spur. What is it? What does it do? Yeah.
Oh, and teaching those men, like, listen, this is what you need to know.
That's right.
Apparently they still are all not sure about this third nipple situation. So that's what wasn't in this book. It's in almost every other book. It's not in this one.
Yeah, they don't have to worry about that third nipple. That little bud. Right. It does get mentioned, though, because that's when Marduk taps out of that conversation. He's like, okay, I don't need to know about human vulvas. I don't know. Bye.
Someone calls him a coward, and I'm like, you're damn straight.
That's right.
Not handle it.
Get the fuck out of there.
Oh, I love it.
I do think I would be happy on Nothoth, though. Once I got my Sa-khui and I wasn't cold all the time, I'm pretty sure I would be happy there.
I mean, I feel like, give me, like, your fated mate, and, like, some of them don't even leave the cave, so it's not like you're gonna suffer from the cold all that much. Just stay close to the fire, so. Yeah,
I would have a hard time with the darkness, but I have a feeling that the Sa-khui also helps with mental health as well as physiological health, so.
And there are two suns. Sure. We know there are two suns.
I mean, there are two suns that, like, peek at you once a month. It's not an hour a day or something dumb.
When you're allowed to go outside when it's not snowed in.
Yeah, not during the brutal season. Oh, God.
Okay, I think, and we discussed this, it also depends who else you're trapped with. I'm impressed that none of these women, they all get along like one big happy family.
Yeah, I do think that there is a spin-off, like romantic suspense, Murder in the Tribe. Oh, I feel like that could happen.
I would read that. I would read the hell out of that.
Ice Planet Barbarians, Murder in the Tribe.
CSI Not Hall. They're like measuring footprints. I would be there for that.
Yes.
I want someone to get stabbed with an icicle. That's what
of course, it's the perfect weapon. Except, wait, no, the icicle would never melt, so it's not. It would always just be there. It wouldn't disappear after a while.
Ooh, okay. Oh, I would love that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So we've reached the ending part, the sad part for me. Thank you, Erin. It's over.
My name is Melody.
Melody, I'm so sorry.
No, that is the highest compliment you could give me. So don't cut that. I love it.
Thank you, Melody. And I'm glad that's the only time I've done it this whole podcast. Thank you, Melody, for agreeing. My absolute pleasure.
Yes. I can't even tell you. The moment that you were like, why doesn't this exist in the world? I was like, because Dani needs to make it, and I need to be on it. Melody, be guest on podcast.
we also somehow got through a whole episode without your alternative title.
Oh my God. What is it? Sex Planet Ice Barbarians. Fucking you real good. And Marduk and Farli do not disappoint.
They live up to the name.
Ice Planet Sex Barbarians or Sex Planet Ice Barbarians. Fucking you real good.
That's the only part that matters is the second half.
It's true. There's a colon in there, listener. So, just so you have the right punctuation.
Oh my gosh. So yes, thank you again. As a reminder, where can people find Heaving Barbarian? Oh my gosh.
Heaving Barbarians!
I've got full movie.
Yeah. Heaving Barbarians! Oh, this is everything. Oh my God.
When your episode goes up, I will change the display profile for the Twitter account to read Heaving Barbarian.
Yes, please. Oh, it's brilliant. All right, so you can find.
Don't make me do that again. I can't.
I'm a business lady. Here I go. You can find Heaving Bosoms on all the places. We have a website called heavingbosoms.com, and you can find us on Instagram at Heaving Bosoms. Twitter is at heaving_bosoms. We have a Facebook page. We also have a Facebook group called the Heaving Bosoms Podcast Geriatric Friendship Cult, which is the happiest place on the internet. And yeah. Oh, we also have a Patreon that if you want bonus content, I don't know why you would want bonus content if you've never heard me before, because we have like 120 episodes, but it is patreon.com/Heaving Bosoms Podcast. And yeah, it's super fun.
Yes, highly recommend. Oh my gosh.
And also on all of your podcatchers, like any of them, just search Heaving Bosoms. And if you see two silhouettes of reading ladies who are fainting and lying down, that's us.
You found them. Put horns on them. Oh, I love it. Well, thank you again. Our next episode is going to be, it's Barbarian's Redemption, so it's Beck's.
Is it next?
It's next. His book is next.
Oh, wow. They get those slaves real quick, don't they?
They get them super quick.
Gosh. Who has the connect?
So, yeah, they do not waste any time. And so it's Beck's book next, Barbarian's Redemption, and it's with Jen Reed's romance.
Jen's gonna be the guest?
Yes.
Oh, that's so exciting.
I do have to remind her, but she said she'd do it.
Yes.
So I'm looking forward to it. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking forward to it. So yes, all right. Thank you again.
My pleasure. Hooray.
Yay. Bye.
Bye.
Say bye to the listeners, and then we can stop recording.
Bye, listeners.
Peace.
Hey, you. Yes, listener, you. Are you loving the show? If so, please leave a rating and review in your podcast app. The 90 seconds you take to say something nice not only helps new people find the show, but it makes me super smile over at HBHQ. Also, I've had a few people ask, and the answer is yes. We are still doing the 5-star bribe. If you leave us a review with 5 stars, then we'll do whatever book you want. We're real deep into the list, though, so it might be a while. Lilas! Okay, back to the show.